Welcome to After TUF. I'm Dean Thomas, and episode 2 of TUF 31 is a wrap. But we got a great show planned for you. The winner of this week's fight, Cody Gibson, will be joining us. And from Team McGregor coach Dr. Julian Dalby, all the way from the Black Forge Inn in Dublin, Iron joins us as well. And of course, Iron Michael Chandler chimes in to share his thoughts on this week's episode. But right now, joining me in studio, taking time away from his training camp to kick it with me, the winner of TUF Season 15, Mr. Michael Chiesa. Mike, you did a live season of TUF. Are you watching these guys thinking, I did a live season of TUF?
You know, I ran into a couple of the kids at the PI while they were filming this season, and they were like, how long was your season of TUF? And I said, 13 weeks, and they're like, and John Anik's very particular. If you ever call my season of The Ultimate Fighter season 15, he will correct you and he will say, it's TUF Live. It's not TUF 15. And he's even corrected me at times. But look, this last season was great. Cody Gibson got a great win. You can see that now the competition's starting to kind of unravel itself. Guys are starting to talk a little trash. Fights are starting to get pretty exciting. Episode 2 was great.
Now, how long was it for you before you got your feet underneath you in the house to where you was comfortable talking trash and feeling at home?
You know, I feel like just once the fighting starts, I think that's when you start to feel comfortable. And we had to fight to get in the house. We were a group of 32 that had to fight to get in. So like once I had won my fight and I knew, all right, I'm going to this house, I'm going to be here for 13 weeks. I really started to settle in. I wasn't much of a trash talker, and really not really anybody on my season really talked too much trash. Everybody was pretty laser focused on the task at hand. So. But it was once you get that first fight under your belt, I feel like that's when you really start to kind of feel like yourself.
Well, these guys in this season have the privilege of having Conor McGregor hanging out and hanging around, and he was actually at the house. We have some unseen footage of this.
Do you want to hit him?
Tuesday,
What's your man? At that point. Like, you're mad. Are you mad? Look at that. That's called an avalanche, yeah?
The whole camera into it.
There's a sprinkler, there's the top. This is the top of it, yeah? Creamer. Look, you put the joy in it, you can put the in it, yeah? Look at that for the other can.
How's that looking, brother?
Slick.
Yeah? Cool. Now I just gotta line you up, get you bladed up.
Yeah, we good. Man, no fair play.
Cool. Oh, it was? Check this out, Connor. Look.
What's this?
This is my little brother, the one I was telling you about. That's my youngest little brother. That's 19. That's Miguel.
Cowboy hats. What, he's like farmers or what the
Yeah, we're from Mexico. Yeah, we're all from Mexico.
Right, man. I love respect it. I'm with the Mexicans on the whiskey.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was going to start and build it.
Yeah.
And then the Mexican came on board, won the Mingos and Fernando Catholics.
Oh, yeah.
Got a lot of love with Mexicans.
Hell yeah. That's what's up,
Nate's a
man.
Mexican, Tony's a Mexican. I know when I'm up against a Mexican, it's a fight.
Oh, yeah,
No
absolutely.
matter what.
Oh, yeah.
So I respect for that. Yeah, you got the skills as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and this is the other one, Junior. This is Junior. This is the middle brother. Out of the three of us, he has the best fight IQ out of the three of us.
Can you get me a pair of cowboy boots, can you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll get you. Yeah,
cowboy boots.
my family's from Jalisco. We all, see, we all
Jalisco's away from Jalisco. Yeah, I love it.
It's actually where tequila is. Where all tequila in the world comes from. Yeah, and that's my girl right there. That's my girl.
Kiss her, look.
It'll say.
Mate,
Yeah.
very good. Very
Yeah.
good. Daddy, loyalty, mate. Just to keep all that tight.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing like
Always.
that.
Yes, sir.
One thing about Conor, I got to give him his props, man. When he is engaged in conversation with somebody, I mean, he made Manny Gutierrez feel like he was the only person in the world right there. I mean, look at my picture, and he was really engaged in that. You ever see somebody like, hey, look at my picture, and they just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean? I mean, what a blessing to have a guy like Conor McGregor being around and being engaged and, you know, just kind of paying attention to you. That had to be special for these guys.
Oh man, it's unexpected, you know, and I'm not saying that in a way to kind of take a jab at him. It's just you don't expect a guy like Conor that's got so much going on in his life to apply himself so much to these guys, and for him to really, like you said, like he's looking at that picture, he's asking questions, he's really taking the time to get to know these guys. It's got to be really special for him.
It's week 2 of The Ultimate Fighter, and Team McGregor took a second L. That means Team Chandler has a perfect 2-0 record. Now, let's welcome in Coach Iron Michael Chandler, fresh off of a second week win streak. Now, how concerned were you going up against Conor's number 1 guy, Manny Gutierrez?
Man, I was, man. When I saw Mondo the first time, I thought, man, that dude's got some fire about him. I had a couple little interactions where I wasn't necessarily talking to him, but I saw the way he carried himself, He's got a wrestling background. Because you got to remember, too, we looked at 20 guys before the show. We looked at the records. We did all of our research. And Mondo was the guy that I had my eye on and thought that guy's in the running to be one of the top bantamweights. And so obviously with Cody going to fight him, I knew it could have gone either way. And to be honest with you, leading up to that, they didn't show a lot of it, but Cody was struggling. That first weight cut, that first couple days before that fight, I was really worried about where Cody's head was at. But he went out there, made weight like a professional with a smile on his face, and then went out there and obviously got a nice big old TKO win in that first round.
And Michael, you're coaching a fighter in Cody Gibson that's a well-established veteran, and you talked about seeing him lack the confidence that he needed in that fight. How do you get through to a guy that's already established and set in his ways to give him the confidence to have the performance that he had against Mando?
Man, it's a great question because I truly believe, not to toot my horn and my coaching staff's horn, but I do believe that it was what we did outside of just the X's and O's of training that got Cody to where he needed to be, to not just make the weight, which was a tough weight cut, but then to go out there and just fight with so much poise, man. They didn't really show the moment too well that Cody and I had after, man. He walked over to me, looked me right in the eyes, and just said, "Thank you so much. You made me believe in myself when I couldn't." And that was honestly maybe the greatest moment of the entire season, because I think we were all a little bit worried, but we led with love. The biggest thing is leading with love. I know it sounds cliche, but the punches, the kicks, the knees, and the elbows, that's all going to take care of itself. If you can go out there with a full heart, with a full cup, you're going to go out there and you're going to compete to the best of your abilities. I had a phenomenal coaching staff. We got him right to where he needed, and he went out there and got the win. He got his hand raised, but we were all there loving on him leading up to that moment.
Hey, Mike, we're going to have to start calling Conor no-show. This man is not showing up to the weigh-ins. What did you make of him not showing up to the weigh-ins for the second week in a row?
It's tough, man. People would always people always said, even management, my wife also, like, "Hey, why do you always wear the jersey? Why are you always wearing the jersey? Why don't you dress up like Conor or do this?" It's like what you do subconsciously is so much deeper than what you say. Show them, don't just tell them, right? So me showing up, me always wearing the jersey, yeah, it's got my name on it, but that is a shirt, but it's also a representation of our time together, our belief in each other. And if you can't just show up, how are you going to expect your guys to go out there and perform? That was my take. I just wanted to be there with those guys. I wanted to be there in the trenches with them, training with them, be there for them, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually. And I was going to be there at every single one. I was going to be at every single practice. I was going to show up first. I was going to leave late. I was going to show them that I was willing to put in the work as a coach, to show them that I'm here not just because my name versus Team McGregor or my name on the poster or my name on the jersey. It's about them. It's about them and me getting the veterans realizing that this was the best second chance that they ever could have asked for. 12 weeks straight on ESPN with a UFC contract on the line. It's an opportunity of a lifetime, but without a great coach, how are they going to get there? And that's what I took. I took it very much to heart, and I had to show up, man.
Man, I think I need you coaching me. It'd be perfect. I need him coaching me. All right, let's take a question from one of the fans, and this one is from Timmy Shoes MM, and they want to know, where do you rank McGregor in terms of how tough the fight is compared to other opponents that you've had?
Man, I think Conor brings a lot of intangibles that most people never have to deal with. This will be by far and away the biggest fight that I've ever had, the biggest spectacle I've ever had, the most amount of media, the most amount of different obligations that I'm going to have, not to mention the fact that I want to go out there and beat the guy. And there's a lot of people out there who think they've written him off. There's a lot of people who think I should go steamroll him. There's a lot of people that think that I should be in the driver's seat the entire time. But we're talking about mixed martial arts and 4-ounce gloves. And you're talking about a guy, he talks the talk, but I think he does walk the walk in a lot of ways. Yeah, we see him out there doing his thing. We see him out there doing things outside of just training. But when the going gets tough, when the fight happens, when the training camp happens, and it's time for him to lock down, there's not a more dangerous guy out there than Conor when he's focused and he's motivated and he's ready, because I think he's bought into, he's sold everybody this dream that is so big that he is the notorious Conor McGregor, and he has to go out there and perform. And a lot of times he does. So we'll see how it happens. So there's a lot of pressure. So I think it's honestly the toughest fight of my career because of that. Do I think he's the most skilled guy that I've ever fought? Probably not, but the mystique of notorious Conor McGregor, that's what we all have to be fighting, and that's who he needs to be when he steps inside the octagon.
And, while we're on the subject of Conor McGregor, I got to ask you, coaching the Ultimate Fighter presents a very unique opportunity for you as a competitor, because you have the opportunity to acquire small wins outside of the big fight that's going to come in due time. With back-to-back wins, does that give you a little extra confidence, know that you're kind of outgunning him in every possible way outside of the fight that's going to happen at some point this year?
It does. It's a great question because, I remember when we did the announcement, it's like, hey, mine and Conor's fight might be months from now, could be a year from now, but the fight itself starts now. I wanted to go onto the Ultimate Fighter as soon as my feet hit the ground on the Las Vegas desert, that every single moment I wanted to beat Conor. And that was obviously my number one goal. And then my goal shifted once I met my team, fell in love with my team, fell in love with their stories, and I wanted the best for them. But as a byproduct, now we are 2-0, and every single time my guy gets a hand raised and he's wearing a Team Chandler jersey, of course, it's another win for me. And, I just wanted to go out there and prove that I was better than Conor in every sense of the word. But so far, I think you guys have seen, he really did show up in a lot of those practices. He's there. He's vocal. You hear his guys talking at the house. They got a lot of confidence from being around Conor. There's a special aura about him. There's a special confidence about him. So he brings a lot of strengths that maybe I don't bring because I'm not that mega superstar. But I was an in the trenches, hard-nosed coach for these guys, and I led with love. So it was an interesting microcosm of mixed martial arts there for those X amount of weeks that we were there, all 12 of these episodes. But it's been nice now. Team Chandler up 2-0, and two pretty quick finishes, 2 dominant victories. So I'm excited to see how the rest of the show goes for you guys.
Now, Mike, I love you. I appreciate you. You came on the Dean Diaries, but you took me to your little spot in Florida. I know you got a bigger spot in Nashville. Did you not take me to the house in Nashville because you thought I was going to steal something?
No. They just did the UFC cribs type of thing, which was really cool. No, they came out and did a cool little thing that, hey, we want to give a tour of the house. So we did. But no, man, you are welcome out here in Nashville whenever you want. Let's do another Dean Diaries Nashville style. We'll check out the house. We'll check out my gym, some strength and conditioning. Maybe we'll cook some steaks. And I know you ain't going to steal nothing, man. You're Dean Thomas.
Nah, I stole your can opener at the house in Florida. I'm sorry.
Dude, did you steal the wine opener too?
Well, Mike, man, we appreciate you. I can't wait to talk to you again next week and every other week after that. Looking forward to it, my man. Have a good rest of your day.
Take it easy, Michael.
Sure. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
There he was, the great Michael Chandler. So, Mike, we were talking about the relationships between coaches and athletes. I mean, we saw the relationship between Mike and Cody in this episode. You had a pretty unique relationship with Uriah Faber in your season.
Yeah, and it was just an interesting circumstance. Obviously, I was going through a lot of turmoil with everything going on with my family, with my dad passing away, and Faber was a guy that showed a tremendous amount of compassion. Not only him, but also Danny Castillo. Like I will always say, Danny Castillo he's like a brother to me. And when you're in that environment and you start to battle your own demons and you start to kind of have to deal with the things that are going to get under your skin, the things that are going to make you sad, the things that are going to get you emotional, and to have a coach you can lean on that cares and shows that they care. Like when Michael Chandler's saying, I'm leading with love. That's such a gift for guys like Cody Gibson when he's having these moments where he's lacking confidence or he's starting to miss his family. To have somebody that you can tell truly cares it really helps. It not only motivate you, but it keeps you in the competition, especially if you're a guy, you know, you're in the winning side of the bracket and you're still moving on to the semis, trying to push for the finals. Like, to have a coach that truly cares could be the difference maker in you winning and losing.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why these guys stay in the sport for so long, because they have that type of love that they give out and it comes back to them. But here's a message from Uriah right after that. It was a recent message from him.
What's up, guys? Uriah here. I want to talk about Mike Chiesa. What an honor it was to have him as one of my fighters on The Ultimate Fighter. And the things that stand out to me about Mike was, first and foremost, his attitude. I mean, talk about a passionate guy, a guy that I think believes in himself, but started to believe in himself more and more as he was putting in the work. You know, I think he's someone that has acquired the self-belief and always had the discipline and the skill set, but keeps getting better. So proud to have him as somebody that was, you know, part of my season of The Ultimate Fighter, and somebody that has gone on to make a long, healthy career, and you know, enjoy watching him.
Now, hearing that, like, instinctively, what are your first thoughts that come to mind?
It brings me, it's like a flashback, you know. It takes me back to a time when he's hit the nail on the head. Like, maybe I was doing all the right things, but I just lacked the confidence. But that was the first time I had been exposed. You know, I'm from a small gym, from a small city, and we've grown over time. But at that point in time, in 2012, we're a small team. This is my first time getting exposed to big coaches, big coaching staff, and for him to say, as the season was progressing, like, you need to believe in yourself. Like, you have what it takes to take this thing all the way. Like, you are the dark horse. You might not be the #1 pick, but we really think you could take this thing as far as you believe you can. So once he started to instill that belief in me, then I started to kind of exhibit it, and it really was a difference maker for me in how I performed in that competition.
Now, obviously, having a good coach like that who can instill that type of wisdom into you, it doesn't just happen overnight. At what point in the season did it really hit you, affect you, those messages that he was trying to get to you?
It's funny you say that. I'll tell you exactly when that time came. There was a certain practice where I got my butt kicked so bad, particularly by Ally Quinta. He was socking me up in sparring. I had a meltdown. Like, I started to cry. My emotions started to kind of, you know, I'm going through a lot of stuff, not only with me not believing in myself, but just other things going on with my family. It started to kind of boil to the top, and he pulled me aside, took me to the bathroom, and sat me down and just gave me this speech that was just like, dude, you have what it takes. You just don't believe in yourself. Like, what I saw, you know why you just got your butt kicked? Because you didn't believe you could do any better, you know? So from that point going forward, I never had a moment like that in training again. So it was for him to show belief and care, look you in the eyes when he says it, and show that he really cares. It really was a game changer for me.
It is now time for some tough talk with the episode 2 winner from Team Chandler, veteran Cody Gibson. Cody, what's happening, man? How are you doing tonight?
Doing good, Dan. Just wrapping up last week of school, so.
Still in school, but more important things. You fought the #1 guy on their team. Now, going into this fight, what advantages did you think you had over their #1 guy?
I mean, obviously, I always have usually I have a size advantage and a reach advantage. And Mondo's a really dangerous grappler. He's got a really good squeeze on his guillotines and stuff like that. So I just knew if I could keep the fight standing and defend his takedowns, that I felt pretty good about what my odds of winning were in the stand-up department. So that was kind of my game plan going in.
You know, and Cody, you and I are the same age. You're 35 years old. You're an established vet. And you're going into this season of The Ultimate Fighter. What are the biggest takeaways that you got from Michael Chandler and his coaches? And of all the coaches that he had on his staff, which one did you sync up with the most?
Man, honestly, I went into the show not really having, very many expectations as far as the coaches went and the team aspect of the show. I knew it was a relatively short amount of time that we were together, and I just didn't really think anything of it as far as that I was going to learn a lot or I was open-minded, but I just kind of felt like we were going to be in a fast forward motion the entire time, getting ready for fights and things like that. But Chandler and his entire coaching staff, they really went above and beyond for us. I connected with really all the coaches in different ways. Chandler, for me, gave me a lot of confidence. When you got a guy like Michael Chandler who seemingly, believed in me so much, and I've always struggled with confidence. And so having a guy like that just in your ear constantly, kind of reiterating to you like, hey, you deserve to be here. You deserve to win this thing. You're good enough to win this thing. All that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think, Chandler and me definitely had a connection, but really all the coaches were phenomenal. Jason Strout's a Renaissance man, a maestro on the mitts. Bader was awesome. Coach Drysdale, getting to learn from him and his vast, knowledge in jiu-jitsu, and as it applies to MMA. So in different ways, I really, connected with all the coaches, and I couldn't have been happier with where I landed.
Now, Cody, you had a very special moment in this episode in which you were talking to Coach Chandler about adoption. What did it mean to you, and what was that like to be able to open up to him about that?
Yeah, I think that was just kind of the start of our relationship, and connecting on something besides just mixed martial arts. Obviously in different ways. He adopted 2 boys, and I was a boy who got adopted. And so that was just kind of an initial kind of connection we made. And it was just cool to meet not only myself, but another guy in the house, Trevor, was also adopted. And then a bunch of the production crew. I don't know how it kept getting brought up, but I just kept meeting people that had been adopted. And that's not something in day-to-day life you usually bring up in conversation. And so it was just kind of an interesting kind of dynamic to things, but definitely kind of helped spark the connection that me and Coach Chandler had.
Now, let's go back in time to your UFC debut, Cody. You had a very competitive fight with, right now, the bantamweight king of the UFC, the bantamweight king of the world, and Aljamain Sterling. Given that was such a competitive fight, did you find some way to apply that as an advantage for yourself, competing against these up-and-comers on The Ultimate Fighter?
For me, it just kind of like, I tell myself that, like anytime I'm fighting anybody, like I've already fought the champion. I fought multiple title challengers. I fought multiple guys that have been in the top 10. And so for me, like looking at the prospects, even though they were dangerous, young guys, and all that stuff, and I have a lot of respect for them and everything like that, but, it doesn't really scare me to fight some of these up-and-comers because I've already been in there with the best guys in my division, or at least a lot of them. So it just kind of helps me, gives me something else to remind myself of when I start having self-doubt, that I've been in there with some real killers, some real beasts. And so I need to take a deep breath sometimes and realize that, I've swam in the water with some pretty nasty sharks. So I think I'll be okay.
Well, Cody, we appreciate your time, man. Thank you for coming on. Looking forward to seeing how it works out for you on the rest of the season, and I'm certainly enjoying it so far.
Yeah, best of luck, my man.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Take care.
That was Cody Gibson picking up his first win on TUF. But now let's take a look at somebody else picking up their first win on TUF.
In the other locker room, Michael Chiesa, undefeated at 7-0 and is a former accomplished high school wrestler.
Bring his legs together. Look at him. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh.
Stop!
Yep. Got that one. Yep.
He looked nasty.
Nice. He looks good. He's solid.
Winner by tap out. And moving into the house, Chiesa.
Did you live in, like when you shot that, did you live in a house or did you live under a bridge and they just brought you in to fight?
So the funny thing is, like when I left for The Ultimate Fighter, like I was living with one of my best friends, Gary, and I packed up all my stuff and put it in a storage unit. And like, so when I came on the show, I was like, yeah, I don't have any place to live if I don't win this fight to get in the house.
It showed. It looks like that.
So they're like kind of said like, oh, he's homeless. I'm like, no. I'm not homeless. Like I just recently took a chance on myself. But it's funny. I actually had, I'm not a big I'm big on manifestation, but I don't really have a lot of dreams about the results of my fights. And that particular fight, when I was cooped up at the Palace Station, I actually dreamed that fight was going to happen the way it did, and it panned out exactly how it happened in my dream. It was a very surreal thing, but yeah, I looked the part of being a homeless person, and I guess I kind of played the part too.
So what was the best part about when you first initially got the call, you were on the show, you're like, okay, now I'm not homeless, I got a place to live for, your season was live, so you were on there for 13 weeks. You're like, I got a place to live for 13 weeks. Like, what was the best part of the show for you?
Well, when I got the initial call that I made it on TUF, it was not, you would think that I would be so ecstatic. Like, this is something I had dreamed about since I was in high school. I told my high school girlfriend, someday I'm gonna be on this reality show. We were watching season 2 when Rashad won. And so this is a dream that I've been working towards for so long, but with everything going on with my family, I wasn't as happy as you'd think I was. But, my family pushed me into it. I almost withdrew, and they're like, you have to go through with this. So thank God my family made me do that. But, the best part about being on The Ultimate Fighter was, for us, we didn't really have any characters. Like, in episode 2, we kind of saw a little bit, it was, I'm pretty sure it was Gutierrez, or not Gutierrez, one of the guys was getting a little chippy.
Oh, Landon.
He's talking a little bit to Roosevelt Roberts.
Yeah.
We didn't really have characters like that on my season. So the best part about it was 16 guys in one house that were all like-minded. Like, we were all there to win. No one was talking crap to each other. It was just, everybody was very laser focused, and it was good for me and good for everybody because it kept you sharp. It's like, I'm waiting for one person to kind of start acting like Junie Browning, or I'm waiting for a Kaplan moment. I'm waiting to see who's the character. I want to know who are the characters, and I want to know who the fighters are. And I learned early on, everybody was there to fight. So that was one of the best parts about it, was being in a house with 15 like-minded people, and one of them happened to be my best friend, Sam Cecilia.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And obviously getting in the good training.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at some of the training that these guys did on Team McGregor.
We're here in the Fight the House again. Another McGregor fast workout. We bring the watt bikes out, put the lads through short sprints. So when it's go, try and get your max power. Yeah. That's where the power will tell you what you're putting out. And that's your clock, yeah? Yeah. It's a real, it's a testosterone builder, and it's a real, it's just a great solid workout. It's not a lot of time consumption, but a lot of bang for its buck. Yeah. Great for the legs as well. Mm. Like, if you think about it, there's everything you can do, right? Is the upper body sore? Is it, well, no bother bounce on the bike? Mm-hmm. Is the legs sore? No bother bounce on the skier. There's always something to be done. Yeah. Are you resting your jab? Okay, rest your jab. What about your backhand? So I'm saying, are you resting your jab and your backhand? What about your kicks? What about your knees? What about your core? There's always something to do. Find it and do it. Yes, sir. Right, I'm ready to go.
That's 2 minutes 10 now, so. Hang on, we all set up?
Yeah. When you're ready to call. Actually, I'm going to get a little charge though.
3, 2, 1, go. Go. Come on, not again. Come on. Keep going. 5 seconds.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Time. Good stuff.
Average 1,100 watts.
Excellent.
Peaked at 1,500.
You peaked at 900.
1,500.
Peaked at 900.
900, yeah.
Better than the last one.
Yeah.
What'd you get now?
1,500. Wow. Second round was more than first.
Do you know what we're really good on is explosive, the BMX guys? Because they just got that little kick at the start, that's it.
So that's contributing out to 2 horsepower there.
2 horses?
2 horsepower in the red zone. So that's pretty impressive stuff.
So instead of just use your legs, like, it's all steel, so it won't break, so just try and break it. And just get that max up.
Feel it in the leg. Yeah. To be honest, everywhere. Lungs, everywhere. It's a great combo.
About 2 minutes, yeah. Yeah, full recovery.
Fast vocabulary, so.
Okay. Whatever that means.
3, 2, 1, go.
Go.
Come on. And again. Come on.
Let's go.
Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down.
5,
Come on.
4,
2, 1, time.
Time. So just under 1,000 watts.
Yeah.
The recovery was a little short there.
It's going to get slower now.
Keep it asking to see as well.
Yeah.
Explosive power work. So it's a great workout. So there's another team camaraderie, team building type of vibe as well going on. It's not time consumption. They didn't have to travel to the gym again. Their rest day now is tomorrow. Things are going really well in the camp. The energy is in our favor, and things are going well.
Okay, so that was a clip of Conor McGregor training with his guys on the watt bike. Now, when I see that clip, what stands out to me is how magnetizing of a figure Conor McGregor is. Like, when he speaks, there isn't an eyeball in the room that is not attached to his every word. Now, what stands out to you?
You know, it's how accessible he's making himself to his athletes. Like, this is Conor McGregor. It'd be easy for him to kind of come in there and coach and maybe stand there with the clipboard and just kind of order his coaching staff to get out there and spar with the guys and get out and instruct and get out and kind of show them the way. But Conor's taking it upon himself to, like, do the workouts with him. I'm going to spar with you guys. I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you a glimpse into my strength conditioning routine. I'm going to give you all that I have to offer. It shows that he's really applying himself. While he might not have shown up to weigh-ins, you know, he still is showing that he's very much invested in the show. And for him, this is a guy that I don't think he really goes out of his way to talk to a lot of people. But I think that for him, these kids are so blessed because they grew up on Conor McGregor and he's making himself so tangible. He's applying himself to this competition. And for them, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience they'll never forget.
I mean, not for nothing. Think about this. I mean, we know Conor be acting reckless. He be doing some reckless things, but at the end of the day, he was dropping gems on them to talk about, you know, if your jab isn't working, work on your right hand. If your arms aren't working, work on your legs. And I mean, these are things that they need to hear, like, because not a lot of people talk about this type of stuff.
He even offered insight to Mando. Mando had asked him, like, hey, you know, what's going through your mind when you're in the locker room? He's not only is he offering him the things he does when it comes to the X's and O's and the skills, but he's also giving them insight into his mind. And Conor has shown since he burst on the scene in 2013 in the UFC, he's got a brilliant mind for the sport. I mean, outside of all the hoopla, this is a guy that's a tremendous competitor, and he's got a tremendous mind for the sport. And so for him to just share all of this with these young kids, they can only grow from it.
I know one thing, though. Conor, Team Chandler, none of them want no smoke with us on the bike.
Absolutely
You really
not.
don't want no smoke with me on the bike. I'm going to tell you that right now. You really don't want no smoke with me because you tried earlier, and we're going to cut to that clip right now.
In 3, 2, 1.
It's so hard. It's just like, how much time is left? I'm dying.
You're kidding me. I was like,
Man. I listen, it was by the smallest of margins did I sneak by with that one, man. That was close. That was close. You still got it.
No, I didn't really got it. I was, you know, I took the level down a little bit so I can keep up a little bit. But you know what? Listen, it was a lot of fun, and I like, you know what I'm saying? I like training. I think for these young guys being in the house with Conor, it is such a blessing to be able to get that wisdom from him, for sure.
Absolutely. You know, going back to what I was saying before about like having characters in the house, characters and fighters. There's only two types of people that walk on The Ultimate Fighter. You're either a fighter or you're there to be a character. You're there to be a reality show character. If you're a character, you're robbing yourself of the gift. You have this opportunity to learn from the best fighters in the sport. Like when they put coaches on The Ultimate Fighter, they give you champions. They give you pound for pound greats. They give you superstars. You rob yourself of the gift if you're there to be a character. So I feel like Conor, he's got a team of guys that are fighters, and they're going to soak all this knowledge up. and it's going to be impressive to see. Or I'm interested to see how the rest of the season transpires.
Now, speaking of bikes, I know you won a bike on your season of The Ultimate Fighter. You won a Harley Davidson. What actually happened to the bike? Where is it?
It's sitting in my driveway.
Really?
I still have it. So for a lot of people don't know this, I grew up in a motorcycle racing family. My grandpa, who's my all-time hero, he's in the Hall of Fame for flat track racing. He's in Evel Knievel's biographies. Like, I'm from a motorcycle racing family. So when I won the Harley, I was like, oh, this is here to stay. Like, I love this thing. And I know a lot of other people have sold their bikes, but for me, like, it was a no-brainer. I'm keeping this thing. I actually, like, I just was riding it the other day. So, and I could send you pictures of it, man. The old I call it the Black Wolf, you know. I love that thing.
Well, I was supposed to get my motorcycle license to do an episode of Dana White Looking for a Fight when we went to Sturgis. And I took my test, I did the written part, I got 100, I aced the written part. And then I did the riding part. The first turn, I dropped that bike and hit every cone on the lot.
I gotta watch it.
The dude looked at me, he pointed at me, he said, you're done. So I never did get my motorcycle license. So if you watch that episode of Dana White Looking for a Fight, I rode on the back of Dana's bike the whole episode.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it then, because that's a sight to be seen, you just kind of hugged up on him there. I love it. I love it, man. That's awesome.
And it's time to take you across the Atlantic all the way to the Black Forge Inn in Dublin, Ireland, where we'll be catching up with one of the coaches from Team McGregor, Dr. Julian Dalby. Welcome to After Tough. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
So, you started McGregor Fast with Conor McGregor. Can you explain to me a little bit about what that program is and how it's different from other fitness programs?
Well, I'm sure anybody that's ever seen fighters has noticed how they always have great physiques. One of the reasons for this is fighting, it demands all the disciplines. You've got to have explosive strength, you got to have power, and you got to have the endurance to go the distance. With the McGregor Fast training program, we have zone-based. We divide into 3 different zones, a red zone, an orange zone, and a green zone, and we specifically target each of these aspects. So it's a performance program. It can be done by anybody, be it an advanced fighter or a complete beginner, and it was developed between myself, Conor McGregor, and some of the world's leading exercise physiologists.
Well, doctor, you are a real-life doctor. What's it like being on a reality show alongside one of the biggest names in MMA?
Yeah, well, I in a previous reincarnation, I worked as an ER doctor. And when I first met Conor, I was doing the ringside doctor for the injuries. But these days I work as a coach full-time with Conor. I've been with him since 2016, and it's always great working with Conor. He's just so enthusiastic. His passion for it is so real, and it's just infectious. Everybody that's around him can't help getting caught up in this, and it doesn't matter if it's Team McGregor, Team Chandler, he just gets everybody so enthusiastic that it's just like go, go, go.
Now, I know you didn't have a tremendous amount of time working with these guys, but if any, what were any of the protocols or philosophies that you were able to implement from McGregor Fast onto Conor's team?
Yeah, well, the guys are already elite athletes. They're already very fit, and we had a limited time. But we were still able to implement some of the principles, things like periodizing the training, some of the recovery techniques, because the higher the level the athlete, the more elite they are, the more important recovery becomes. And certainly these guys have a very heavy schedule ahead of them, so that recovery is vital.
So you've been working with Conor for quite some time. Can you tell me what makes him unique as an individual?
Yeah, I mean, Conor's like nobody I've ever worked with before. I mean, he's just, his expectations are completely unrealistic. When people tell him that you can't do this, you can't be a businessman, you haven't gone to college, you can't be a movie star, you're not a trained actor, he just like listens away, and then he says, yeah, okay, let's go do it. So he just doesn't know limitations, and he just does his own thing.
That's excellent. So, Dr. Dalby, I know that you have an extensive resume along with your deadlifting prowess, and I wanted to challenge you to a deadlifting competition, me versus you. We can do it at a neutral place, and we'll see who's the better deadlifter.
I'm up for it. I'm always up for a challenge. I think we should put some money on it, though.
All right, tell Connor, let me borrow 20, and we can go up that route.
Yeah, I think Connor's good for 20. 20 mil, is that?
No, $20. Well, Dr. Dalby, I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on. Cheers to
Thank you very
Ireland.
much. Thank you.
And Sláinte.
Thank you.
Speaking of alcohol, here's a flashback of a familiar face excited about the free liquor inside the TUF house.
Oh, look at this. It's all bicep. Oh, bicep mug.
I really feel blessed, especially for me, because I'm kind of homeless right now, so I got a place to live for the next 3 months rent-free, and it happens to be $1 million mansion, so I'm pretty ecstatic about that, if I say so myself.
About a bottle of champagne.
There is no way that you had trained before. I'm telling you, they was like, hey, you get to live in this house. All you got to do is beat people up. You was like, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm like the caddy from Happy Gilmore.
Oh
man.
So what was the best thing for you about living in the TUF house?
You know, I kind of spoke to what the best thing was about living in the TUF house, and it was the getting to be around 15 like-minded individuals. Like, I was there to fight. I was there to win the show. I didn't leave my family. I didn't leave my dad to come here and go home empty-handed. I came there to win a UFC contract. I came there to go home with a glass plaque, and I was just like everybody else that was there. So that was good. But I think the best thing for me about the whole Ultimate Fighter experience in general was I realized that there was more to this opportunity than just fighting in the UFC. Like, getting to be in front of cameras for 13 weeks and feeling more comfortable than I thought I would really got my mind turning on, like, I could do other things other than just fight. Like, I really don't think, even if I had made it in the UFC outside of the Ultimate Fighter, I don't think I'd be here as an analyst if I didn't get exposed to being in front of cameras and doing all these interviews and having to be exposed to that for 3 months. It was like a crash course in how to handle cameras and how to handle the spotlight and everything that comes with being a UFC fighter. So I think the best thing that I got from that whole experience was it really opened my mind to all these other opportunities that have come along the way throughout my UFC journey.
I'll tell you what, for me, it was, my son was 6 weeks old when I had him and I was in that house. And for me, it was not having to hear crying and screaming. And that was from the mother. And the baby, too.
That was awesome.
But this episode had a lot of good moments, had a lot of good gems in it. And one of my favorite moments in this entire episode was this one here. Conor McGregor, getting their haircuts, and Conor McGregor hanging out with the crew.
Yeah, and could you imagine what it's like to be Mando? I mean, this guy's cutting weight. He said he's cutting weight, and then he's going into cutting the hair. I mean, that's got to be stressful.
I mean, could you imagine cutting Conor McGregor's hair on national TV?
While you're cutting weight. Like, I know how I am cutting weight. I couldn't imagine handling some shears and having to cut the hairs of the most prolific fighter in combat sports right now. That would be very stressful.
And now we have the best trash talk of the week, and it never gets any better than this. The best trash talk of the week, we have it right here.
You eyeing me up, huh? You been eyeing me up since we got in the house, huh?
Man, if you want to be real with you, bro, I don't like you, bro.
I feel you. It's all good. You don't gotta like me. We gotta coexist, though.
I don't like the way your ass voice sound in the morning. I don't like none of that.
It's fine, bro. You can feel all you want.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro.
It's okay. It's all good.
I'm gonna let you know something. I don't like you, bro, and I'd rather you stop talking to me.
You talking to me. I ain't talking to you.
You coming over here standing in front of me looking at me.
I'm chilling because you staring at my eyes, bro. You in my line of sight.
I'm just saying. I'm letting
we
you know.
coexist in the house, bro. Chill out.
Don't give a about that, bro. I'm letting you know.
Oh my God, all right, bro.
All
Whatever
right,
you
bro.
say, bro.
You know, bro.
I'll get through my fight and we'll fight.
Yeah, bro.
It's all good.
We could do it right now.
Nah, I ain't doing that in the house.
All right, then.
I see how that goes.
I just want to hear that in your voice. That's all I want to hear.
You can hear it all you want.
That's all I want to hear. I just want to hear it. I just want to hear you say that. Because if you would say that to me, homie, we could get it. That's the difference between me and you. And we supposed to be from the same place. Well, you ain't from where I'm from.
I ain't gonna lie, I wanted to slap his ass.
Yeah, I'll tell you, so I know Landon. He's from around the way. You know, he's from South Florida. I know him. I didn't know he had that in him to, like, you know, to kind of go at somebody like that. I mean, he obviously didn't want to fight, but, you know, he kind of wanted to go. He took it like a man.
You know, the house will bring out different sides to people that you never knew. Like, bring out a side of somebody that you didn't know they had. And as a fan, you can only hope, cross your fingers, that Landon wins his next fight. Because there's nothing that makes for better TV when it comes to The Ultimate Fighter. When two guys that are getting chippy and have bad blood in the house, there's nothing makes for a better fight on a reality show when the two guys that don't like each other get the chance to fight. So I can only hope Landon wins his fight whenever that does come, because I would love to see him and Roosevelt Roberts settle the score inside the octagon.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, is that I'm glad that you recognize that the house would bring out the worst in people sometimes, because we have a clip of the house bringing out the worst in this man.
Well, Dominic Cruz is apparently asking Sam about my style and this and that. Makes me want to cut my leg off and go down to 135 and throw him a beating.
I don't doubt him as a coach, but I was going to talk to him about it.
I hate playing the game, but gotta play the game.
I know, me too, man.
That's just Cruz, though. That's Cruz. By any means necessary. Like, and for me, with Uriah, it's like, it's a weird thing for everybody. Like, this is my main training partner, this is my best friend, and we're on separate teams. So people were already like kind of worried if we were like sharing information. I'm like, when you're in the Ultimate Fighter house, there's something you don't realize. You're wearing a microphone at all times, and those cameras are literally up your ass all the time. There's no way you can sneak information. And for Faber, he was like, hey, I respect your friendship with Sam. I'm never gonna put you in a weird space to ask anything about him. Never heard a peep. But Dominic Cruz was like, so what's up? What's Mike?
So wait a minute. So Dominic Cruz and Sam told you this?
So Sam was like, you know, we were trying to find a way to talk about it without getting bombarded.
Yeah.
But it's just, there's no way to do it. And so Sam told me, he's like, yeah, dude, like, he's grilling me. It's my upcoming fight with Jeremy Larson. And he's just like, what's Mike eat for breakfast? When does Mike take a dump in the morning? What's Mike's favorite punch? What's his favorite submission? What's his takedown? Like, he was trying to get every stitch of info out of Sam. But that's just Dominic Cruz. At that point in time, I wrote him off. I was like, screw Dominic Cruz, he's a jerk. And as time has gone on and I've gotten to work with him and get to know Dominic, that's just who he is. He's such a competitor, he doesn't care. He's like, if I have to fight my own teammate, I'll do it, I don't care. For me and Sam, we're like, if we can avoid this and fight in the finals, we'll do it. But yeah, Dominic was just out for blood. He just like would not get off Sam's case about trying to get the drop on me as a fighter.
Well, we have one more clip that we want to go to that you guys didn't see on the episode, and here it is right here.
Roadhouse, I'm doing this in between going to the set. I'm racing from the set. I've been on the thing 15 hours, and I'm going to the gym and doing work. 7 days. And it's like, because you just have to get that in. Everything feels easy after. Everything feels easy. Everything feels easy since it.
Even 3 takes after doing 15 takes.
But doing it, I got a bit better. I'm not going down now. I don't know. Yeah, look, I just was able for it. And then when I look at that Steve Jobs thing I done, that went down a bleeding hit, that did, yeah?
When did the film out?
2024, I think. Hopefully, maybe the end of this year, but early 24. But we're all over the TV this spring, summer, because this show is going to be on, and then the Netflix documentary comes out. So that opens up, and there's a whole, yeah. It's going to be nice. It's going to be good. And a good time.
It'll be a great Christmas movie. One of those ones that comes up every year.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a bit warm climate for the Christmas movie.
That's Willy Wonka.
Conor McGregor is a polarizing figure, but after watching that clip, there's only one thing left to do, and that is to play a game called What in the Hell Did He Just Say? Because there's about a 10-second clip in there. I have absolutely no idea what he said. So do you want to play this? Do you want to play this game with me?
Play this game.
This game is called What the Hell Did He Just Say? So we're going to go back and listen to this clip, and we're going to try to decipher what Conor McGregor just said.
I'm not going down now. I don't know. Yeah, look, I just was able for it. And then when I look at that Steve Jobs thing I done, that went down a bleeding hit, that did, yeah?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I heard Steve Jobs, so I think this was him saying something about the new Apple Vision that came out. That would be my guess. I'm just shooting from the hip.
That's not what he said. He said, I just got into the USADA pool. That was what he said. Blah, 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 blah. He said, I just got into the USADA pool, and I got more money than Steve Jobs. That was what he said. That was what he said.
I can see that. I love it.
All right, now we got the gift of the week right here.
Oh, a little upstairs, downstairs action.
That's me when I see my ex. Like,
help. Ducking down.
The IRS.
Yeah, that's me ducking the IRS. Shoot. Oh, man.
But, this episode was fantastic, and a lot of eyes are getting in on this. A lot of people are catching the attention of a lot of eyes. We had a special guest send us a message about this episode. What's up, everybody? Dana White here from the UFC headquarters. I just got done watching this week's episode of TUF 31 with Team McGregor taking on Team Chandler. Now notice I put the scissors next to Team Chandler because I got to remember that we cut these dudes. Now we had some great fights so far this season. In the first week, Roosevelt Roberts knocked out Nate Gentleman in just 8 seconds. This week, Trevor Wells was supposed to fight Timur Valiev, but my man caught the furunco and we had to scrap that fight altogether. So we had Manny Gutierrez take on Cody Gibson, in which Cody Gibson won by flying knee. Team Chandler is kicking butt. I can't wait to see next week when Austin Hubbard takes on Aaron McKenzie. Tune in, because if you don't know, now you know.
Well, Dean, Dana White seems to know something about cold sores, but I know Dean Thomas knows a little bit about staph infections. So let's go back to a little clip from Season 5, The Comeback.
That was Season 4.
Season 4, The Comeback with Dean Thomas.
Feeling good, Dean?
I'm exhausted. Nobody really knows how much pain I've been in the last couple of days. I'm suffering from staph infection. It's kind of kicking my ass right now.
We have selected Dean Thomas to face, for his long-awaited return, the Eastside Assassin, Mikey Burnett.
We picked Dean because in about 24 hours, Dean's about to get real sick. And we figured we'd catch him at his weakest moment and take advantage of it.
They picked you because you're sick. That's up, man. That's wrong. But that's all right because they don't know that I'm on medication and I'm gonna get better.
I mean, if you look at that clip, my neck was terrible.
It looked rough.
I was like, it was like peeling off of me.
You got
my goodness.
barnacles on your neck.
Oh no,
oh, that looked rough.
Those were the days. Looking back at those clips, it's so hard to look back at those clips and take myself seriously.
Dude, I feel the same way. You guys are popping up all these clips, my long hair, my beard, talking about being homeless, and look at us. We've come a long way.
We've come a long way now.
A long way.
And obviously, there were so many things that happened on TUF. What was something that happened that people might not know?
This is one we were talking about earlier, and so you can actually see this on the bloopers part of the DVD, back when they did DVDs, back in,
back in our day.
Back in our day. But I actually got fined when I was on Ultimate Fighter with Ally Quinta. We had one day off during the week. Al and I decided to hit the bottle, and we hit it kind of hard, and we started making fake cameras and boom mics, and we started chasing the camera crew and taunting them. And and Gary DeFranco, bless his heart, I love Gary so much. He came down to be like, he's the voice of reason. These boys need to calm down. So I'm opening this big bottle of champagne, huge Magnum bottle. I'm unscrewing the thing. I take the wire off, and he comes down. He's like, Mike, you really think you need to drink that? I'm like, you know what, Gary, you're right. I'll put it down. And when I slammed it on the counter, the cork came out, hit the ceiling, hit the wall, and hit Gary right in the neck. And so then I went upstairs because I wasn't feeling so good, and I got fined, and I was laying in bed, and I was pretty sick. But it was a very fun memory for me. I was 24 years old. Al and I, we became so close over the years, and we always talk about that day. It was a very.
Do you remember how much the fine was, though?
I think it was like $250. And for a homeless guy, that's a lot. That's a lot.
I know.
Money. that's a lot of money. But still, it was a very fun moment. I feel like for 13 weeks that we were on The Ultimate Fighter, there's so much that the fans didn't get to see, and maybe someday they'll run it back and do another live season. But if they do it, I better be a coach.
You never know.
Yep.
Well, for now, let's take a look at some of the. But for now, let's take a look at some of the action on next week's episode.
On the next episode of The Ultimate Fighter.
We got business, mate.
Conor McGregor welcomes a special guest to the Apex.
I'll take these off you, kid. The 12-ton, yeah? 12-ton, my man. Let's go, Aaron.
Then, it's time for another explosive lightweight matchup. Team McGregor's jiu-jitsu specialist, Aaron McKenzie, looks to turn the tide for the prospects.
I don't think there's anybody that can shut my game down.
Let's go, baby. As he faces former UFC lightweight Austin Hubbard, who is hungry for a return to the big stage.
I'm going in head first.
Fights on. Who will earn a spot in the semifinals and move one step closer to becoming the Ultimate Fighter?
Well, Mike, man, I appreciate you coming out, man. It was a lot of fun hanging out with you, man. And please come back.
I would love to come back. This is my jam. You know, I always say this. You know, TUF has developed some great champions. It's developed some great fighters. But nobody can ever take away the fact that I won the longest, toughest season of The Ultimate Fighter. TUF Live, as my man John Anik would say.
I tip my hat to you.
Thank you, sir.
But make sure you check out the next episode of The Ultimate Fighter, Team McGregor versus Team Chandler, Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and ESPN+. Then stick around for After TUF because UFC Hall of Famer Suga Rashad Evans is back next week to break down Episode 3 on ESPN+, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And check this. ESPN subscribers who purchase UFC 289, Noon versus Aldana, will have early access to the next episode of The Ultimate Fighter. You'll be able to stream the third installment of the series beginning shortly after the conclusion of UFC 289, just 3 days before the episode premieres. Now it's time for some tough love. Another exhilarating week of TUF 31 with another exhilarating fight to accompany it. But it wasn't the fight that we originally expected. In life, we have to learn to accept and to embrace things as they come, even if it's not what's expected. Have faith in your ability to pivot, because life will throw all kind of stuff at you. So no matter if it's a missed opportunity, maybe a missed flight, or a cold sore, or you got your wallet stolen from a call girl in Costa Rica while you were supposed to be on an innocent bachelor party, and the police won't do nothing about it unless you pay them off, but you can't because they already stole your wallet. So you just gotta ride with it. The point is, you have to learn to embrace and pivot. As for Manny Gutierrez, okay, you got knocked out. So what? It happens to the best of them. That doesn't take anything away from the fighter that you are. Besides, you cut Conor McGregor's hair on national TV. How many people can say that? In fact, I don't even know how you did that. That boy was moving around that chair like a 5-year-old on speed. If you can do that, there's nothing in this world that you can't do. But until next time, I'm Dean Thomas, and I am not here to give you problems. I'm just here to give you some tough love. Have a good night.